You didn't decide to keep watching. You just didn't stop. There's a moment, you know the one, somewhere around midnight, when the rational part of your brain whispers, go to sleep. And then, the next episode begins. Not because you chose it, because something chose for you, 3 seconds before you could think. That something has a name. And it was built by some of the most sophisticated behavioral scientists on the planet, not to entertain you, but to make stopping feel impossible.
Think about the last time you truly decided to watch Netflix. Not scrolled through it, not let it run. Decided. You probably can't remember, because Netflix was designed so that the decision would never quite arrive. You open the app and something is already playing. A trailer, a clip, a scene chosen specifically for you. Not by taste, but by something far more precise. The moment you hesitate, the algorithm reads that hesitation. Uncertainty is an open door, and it walks right through. This isn't convenience. This is architecture. Netflix employs more psychologists than most universities. Their interface team doesn't call what they do design. They call it reducing friction. And friction, in the language of Silicon Valley behavioral science, means any moment where your brain has enough space to make a choice. Every default, every autoplay countdown, every thumbnail that somehow features the exact expression that catches your peripheral vision, these aren't accidents. They are the result of A/B tests run on hundreds of millions of people simultaneously, refining, always refining, the precise sequence of stimuli that keeps a human body horizontal and a human mind just engaged enough to not leave. The thumbnail you clicked? It was shown to you because people with your exact viewing pattern, your watch history, your pause points and rewind habits, clicked it at a statistically higher rate than the 14 other versions that existed, but that you never saw. You thought you had taste? You had a profile. Here's what they understood before almost anyone else. Human attention isn't lost through boredom. It's lost through decision. Every time your mind is asked to choose what to watch, whether to continue, whether you're tired, there's a risk that the answer is stop. So Netflix's entire interface is an exercise in removing that question. The autoplay doesn't ask if you want the next episode. It assumes you do, and makes stopping the effortful choice. Psychologists call this the default effect. People follow the path of least resistance at a rate that should disturb you. Netflix didn't discover this principle. They industrialized it. And then they went deeper. The shows themselves are engineered around what Netflix's internal researchers call the moment of tension. Not drama, tension. There's a difference. Drama resolves. Tension accumulates. The season finale of nearly every major Netflix original ends not with a conclusion, but with a question. Calibrated to be just uncomfortable enough that your nervous system registers it as unfinished business. Incomplete narratives create what psychologists call the Zeigarnik effect. The brain clings to unresolved loops, replaying them, craving closure. Netflix doesn't give you closure. It sells you the promise of it, one episode at a time. They don't make shows to satisfy you. They make shows to make you need the next one. And then there is the hour you never account for. The hour between something you genuinely wanted to watch and something you would never have chosen in daylight. The algorithm knows that after a certain point in the night, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for long-term thinking, consequence, self-control, begins to go offline.
Decision fatigue is real, measurable, and extraordinarily useful if you're in the business of keeping people watching. Netflix's recommendation engine is not static. It shifts based on time of day. What it surfaces at 11 p.m. is not what it would surface at 7 p.m. It knows when you're tired. It knows when your defenses are down. It meets you there with something you cannot quite resist.
None of this is secret. It's published in behavioral science journals, in Netflix's own engineering blogs, in interviews with their former product leads who describe the work with a kind of detached pride that itself should tell you something. The machine is not hidden. It is simply so seamlessly integrated into your evenings that it feels like leisure. That is the final, most elegant design choice of all. They didn't build a trap that feels like a trap. They built one that feels like rest.
The next time you find yourself at 2 a.m., eyes heavy, watching something you don't even particularly want to watch, unable to find the will to press stop, know this: that feeling was engineered. That friction you feel when you try to leave was put there deliberately by people who studied exactly how much discomfort it takes to hold you one more episode. You are not weak. You are not without willpower. You are the product of the most sophisticated attention economy ever constructed. One that learned your behavioral patterns, mapped your psychological vulnerabilities, and built an environment perfectly calibrated to make you stay. The question that remains isn't whether you can stop watching. It's whether you ever really started choosing.